society. We know environmental issues is basically deal with nature ecosystem. This field addresses an animal experimentation. We already know that we should not harm the animal. We should be taken care of the animal by giving food. So this is come under the moral ethics of environmental ethics. Prevention of endangered species, pollution control, sustainable development. Now this ethical concentration in environmental ethics revolve about balancing human interest. It balancing our human interest with the well-being and preservation of environment. What it do, it balancing the human interest. Our interest is balanced, and what it do, it preserve the environment, raising questions about responsibility toward natural world. What it does, it raising the question that how human is responsible for preserve this nature world. What are its responsibility as a human to preserve and to save this environment, not to harm the environment by polluting during the festival, by just celebrating the Diwali, and they burn the firecrackers, and what they do, they pollute the environment. So this also deals that what are the human as and responsibilities to maintain that and to preserve the environment. Now business ethics is basically it govern moral principles environment, including corporate comes, then policy behavior comes, then business ethics, then conduct relationship individual. What are the individual and organization relationship in corporate office, business ethics is deal with. Now investigate ethical controversy. What are the ethical controversy of business ethics is deal about social responsibility of business. First one is social responsibility of business. Second one is employee rights, harassment, labor. Like there are some of the corporate which de-employed, like harass their employers by taking their work for a long period of time, 12 to 15 hours. So this is the employee rights, harassment, labor union, misleading advertisement, job discrimination, that we can give the jobs to the general category, not the SC, ST and OBC, because they come under the lower caste people. So this is the demeaning. And sometimes they advertise the fake advertisement, misleading advertisement. This field of business ethics is aimed to establish the guidelines for ethical main field of this business ethic. What it aims in, its main aim is just to establish the ethical decision making, that what are the guidelines that we should follow in order to make and one ethical decision making in corporate world. What are the guidelines we should follow in order to make a ethical decision in corporate world? Fair practices and accountability. Why do we have to make a ethical decision in corporate world? So that we should have to maintain a fair practices and accountability. So that's why we have to promote and guidelines the ethical decision making in corporate. Sexual ethics, social ethics. Sexual ethics comes at human sexual behavior like homosexual, lesbian, polygamy, pre-marital sex, marital fidelity, non-marital procrastination, lovelessness, sexual relations, safe sex. So sexual ethics come under the lesbians, human sexual behavior. So these subjects evoke discussion about consent, personal autonomy, societal norms. It also concerns societal norms, boundaries of intimate relationship, and highlighting the complexity of ethical decision making. What it's highlight the what in ethical decision making, what are the complexities in matter of human sexuality. When we were talking about in any human sexuality, then what are the ethical decision that we have to make? So here it highlights the complexities. What are the complexities that arise when we were making any ethical decision in during the human sexuality? Now social ethics, what it deals, morally right. What is morally right for a society? You have to make you have to take the idea that social ethics is talk about the society as a whole and how it should act collectivity. We should have to see that how the society act collectivity and how it address the issue. What are the issues which proper behavior for society, how society behave. It address that issue, how society behave, and raise the debate on topic. What are the topic and issue it raises and debate, like racial discrimination among black and white, the death penalty. We also see nuclear weapon production, gun control, drug use for recreational purposes, and welfare rights. Social ethics confront the ethical challenges. It says that we have some ethical challenges that we face in our society, and plus it exploring the balance between individual freedom and the collective well-being. What it balance individual freedom, that there should be some individual freedom in society, and there should be some collective decision well-being in the society. What decision should you make? What are the decision you would make in order to solve the problem that we already discussed? Racial discrimination, death penalty. Now what it conclude, that applied ethics play a crucial role in examining moral issue. So here it's conclude that yes, applied ethics played a crucial role in examine the controversial in day-to-day our your life, philosophical method, correct course of action, that what action is right for human, what is bad. Applied ethics, we have already talked about its subfield: bioethics, environmental, business ethics, sexual and social encompasses. So by exploring these complex issues, we can foster a deeper understanding. By if we exploring these complex issues, these are the complex issue, like what we have talking about the complex issue in bioethical. So we are talking about the sexual ethics, social ethics in various aspects of human life, and work towards its creating a most ethical society. So what it's do, it's create critic it's ethical society, how to make ethical society, how to make a action is considered to be good, ethical concentration. So applied ethics deal with what is good, what is bad, how to make society ethically, and it also deal with controversial day-to-day life. Now this is talking about the Aristotle ethics, a path of self-realization. Self-realization, Aristotle ethics is talks about. Mm, this is the Aristotle. Now, what Aristotle ethics is talks about, Nicomachean ethics, which written by Aristotle, which talks about basically it talks about the self-realization, eudaimonia, virtue ethics. Now we were talking about this one by one. Self-realization. What does it mean? Self-realization means when individual act in accordance with nature or end. When human being act according to nature or end, that is the self-realization, or fully realize the inherent potential to attain moral virtue and happiness. When one attain human being moral virtue and happiness, then he attained self-realization. Only when a human being attain moral virtue and plus happiness both. Aristotle argued that ultimate purpose of human life, what is our life, is aim is to attain liberation and to get rid of suffering in our life, right? So Aristotle said that the main aim of human life is to achieve the self-realization, which involves consistently with the human nature in fulfilling the potential by aligning our action with inherent qualities. So there are action which inherent qualities, we can experience a sense of fulfillment and completeness. Eudaimonia, what it says that it is basically a central of Aristotle ethical philosophy, eudaimonia, which talks about true happiness. It's not merely a emotion or pleasure, but what true happiness is all about, the living, how to live a virtuous life. That is the eudaimonia, a concept of happiness, how to live a virtuous life. Aristotle possessed the eudaimonia as the ultimate goal. No, say first one is the ultimate goal of human life, self-realization. Now second, the ultimate goal, that is the eudaimonia, that is the goal of human existence. And all other pursuits are instrumental of achieving the higher good. Other things for persuade the human being, that is the higher good. By engaging in action that align with our human nature and virtue, we can cultivate lasting happiness and live meaningful life. What it says that if we human being, if we cultivate the happiness and live a virtuous and meaningful life, then what would happen? What would happen is we can engaging our action, and we can cultivate our happiness, and we can achieve the eudaimonia not by just pleasure but by virtuous happiness, that is our human existence, and by moral virtue. Okay, and through and it can come through by our own action, human nature and virtue. And by virtue, what we can do, we can cultivate our happiness, and plus we can cultivate our meaningful life through virtue. That is the Aristotle say in Eudaimonia. Now virtue ethics, cultivating moral excellence. Now Aristotle talks about the moral excellence, in which he talks about the development of moral character of an individual. Unlike action oriented ethics that primarily emphasizes what he should do, it talks about what humans have to do. Virtue ethics, it basically what it emphasizes that we should be, and the kind of person we should strive to become, what we have to do, and what kind of person we should have to become in our life. According to Aristotle, virtue are habit of disposition that enable individual to act in according with reason and achieve moral excellence. Now what Aristotle says, that how to achieve moral excellence. So how we can achieve moral excellence? Through by virtue we can achieve, through by virtue we can achieve happiness, that is the eudaimonia, and by virtue we can cultivate our happiness. By virtue we can dispositions and enable the individual, we can enable any individual through virtue, that you have to act in accordance to with reason and achieve moral excellence. How human being have to act? He or she should act according to reason, and by reason he can achieve its moral excellence. So this is the one another main goal of human. How he achieve moral excellence? If he or she act according to with reason, and by reason he or she can achieve the moral excellence. Now through the habitual practice of moral and intellectual virtue like courage, justice, wisdom, temperance, individual their virtuous life. What are the habitual and moral intellectual practices? Are courage, justice, wisdom, and temperance. Now, end of the purpose. End of the purpose, it says that end or purpose of being, just like Aristotle argued that understanding the essence of essential of something lies not the cause of beginning but ultimate end of purpose. Aristotle here the main argued that the essence or essential, something is a thing that it not lies in the beginning, that there is a thing which not lies in the beginning but in its ultimate end. So Aristotle believed that whatever it's something that exists, it is not exist in the, it is not lie or exist in the beginning, but it lies in the end or purpose. For human, the telos, what telos means? Self-realization. And self-realization means the fulfillment and potential of human being. By aligning their action with their telos, individual can lead a life. So how individual can lead a life? Through their action, through telos. An individual can lead a life that are congruent with their inherent nature and their sense of purpose. So there is a sense of purpose how human can live through their own actions, and through their telos individual can live their life. So what its conclude says that Aristotle ethical philosophy, which talks about the good life. What is the main aim of life? That is the self-realization, eudaimonia. Then we have end of life, and what we were discussing, yeah, moral excellence. So what are these? Are the end of the life. By embarrassing self-realization, we have discussed individual can fulfill their realize and find their happiness. However, they can find their happiness through their self-realization and through their action, which is already inherent in nature. What eudaimonia remind? Eudaimonia says that there are true happiness. How we can attain? We can achieve true happiness through their virtuous living rather than momentary pleasure. We can achieve it through, एरिस्टोटल सेज दैट हम अपनी ह्यूमन की हैप्पीनेस को अचीव कर सकते हैं वर्चुअस की लाइफ से, मोमेंट्री से नहीं कर सकते. ठीक है, थ्रू द वर्चुअल एथिक्स से कर सकते हैं. इंडिविजुअल टू डेवलप मॉरल एक्सीलेंस, वी कैन अचीव मॉरल एक्सीलेंस एंड वर्चुअस लाइफ. नाउ इट्स emphasize on telos the importance of understanding ultimate purpose. It also mean concern the ultimate purpose, that is the end of human existence. And Aristotle ethics, individual can embark or transform their journey towards self-realization. So here it says the individual can embark through and achieve their action through self-realization, moral excellence, and the life of fulfillment. So this is all about. So this is all about the introduction of applied ethics and the Aristotle ethics. I hope you like my video. So okay, thank you so much for watching my video. Do subscribe, like, comment, share.